Happy Friday, race fans, and Merry post Christmas. How does that work?
Yeah.
Hope you had a great holiday.
Happy
How about we
Saturnalia. I
say
think
that?
that's a holiday after Christmas.
Okay, okay.
Saturnalia.
Yesterday was Boxing Day, and this is the final Friday of the 2024 race season, the newest race season. How was your holiday?
It was great.
Yeah?
Spent time at many different people's houses. That's the great thing
You
about
house
this
hopped.
community. House hopped, for
like
sure.
it.
And in the beginning of the week, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I ended up going to 5 different events and had a joyous time with great people, lots of
That's
racing
awesome.
people that we know. And also
awesome.
on Christmas, it was the first night of Hanukkah. So
That's
tonight
right.
is the third night of Hanukkah. So happy Hanukkah to those who celebrate. And just a great time here in Hot Springs.
Well, it was a kind of a soggy day, but anytime
Yes.
you're with friends and family, it's always that much better. So yeah, definitely.
Did Santa show up?
You know what? Paul and I don't exchange gifts. We got a new dishwasher.
Oh,
for
that's a big
for
gift. That's
Christmas,
important.
Finally. But yeah, we stayed in our PJs and had filet and lobster.
Ooh,
And
that sounds good.
yeah, just kind of vegged. And our tradition has been watch the first 2 Godfather movies. Weird, I know, but it's our thing. So yeah, we had a really good time. Really good Christmas Eve with friends up in the village, and yeah, looking forward to New Year.
It's right around the corner.
Any New Year? Do you do New Year's resolutions?
I have, but to say that I've actually stuck to that plan would be a lie.
Yeah, same.
Like, don't eat as many cookies or lose a couple pounds.
yeah, same.
It's been a little-
It's almost like a
rough record
it's almost
the
like a
last few
trainer
years.
taking a horse. It's a day by day basis.
Right.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and show you our weather page. A lot of rain came in yesterday. Therefore, we are starting under a muddy track condition. Winds west by southwest. At 10 miles an hour. We've got a good little gust out there. Skies are cloudy, but the temp, I'm not complaining about that, 56 degrees. So let's go ahead and segue onto our weather page, give you a little update on our leaderboards. And right now, we see Christian Torres in the lead and Keith Asmussen and Garcia 5 wins apiece. So, yeah, very, very contentious pace for the jockey. And well, actually, Francisco Arrieta is second with 9. I'm not sure how that got put
So
in
I
there.
believe
So
it's Torres. It's like
well, I
every
was
other
going to say
number.
that's Steve and
Gennaro
Gennaro Garcia. That got all kind of mixed up. The jockeys, Christian Torres with 12, Francisco Arrieta with
There you
8,
go.
Francisco Arrieta with 9, Ramon Vasquez with 8. Trainers are in between. We have don't know how this happened, Steve Asmussen and Gennaro Garcia, each with 5. Mark Cassie, Abel Ramirez Rodriguez with 4, and you have 5 trainers with 3. Hartman, McPeak, Amos, Safi Joseph, and Peter Miller. So it's off to a really good start. I think it's, you do see Christian in the top, but I think it's going to be they're going to make him work for it this year. Saturday Stakes is the 4th running of the $175,000 Tinsel Stakes for 3 and up at 1 mile and an 1/8, and Future Champions Day this Sunday. Very excited about that. The all 2-year-old card is highlighted by the 3rd running of the $175,000 Year's End Stakes at 1 mile, and there's no better place to ring in New Year's Eve 2025 at Oaklawn. There's going to be live entertainment on property starting at 4 p.m. down in the hotel lobby all the way until 1 a.m. So this is a great place, and all the restaurants are staying open late. They're all
you go.
open, even Perks to get you that late night caffeine rush should you need one. And but this is from what I mean, I stay home. That's just me. I'm a fuddy-dud. But this is the place to be on New Year's Eve, and I've heard some really good stories coming from here on New Year's Eve.
I can only imagine
Yes.
over the years.
And it's probably hard to get on a table or a machine.
Oh, in the casino,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because it is packed.
Absolutely.
Good, cool.
You're looking for that
environment.
New Year's luck in the
Yes.
casino.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We do have 10 races, and I just want to start off saying Francisco Arrieta still sitting at 998 North American victories, 2 wins away from that 1,000 milestone, and he has 6 opportunities today. I think he's going to have a good day, but again, that could be the ultimate anchor kiss of death. So we will find out.
That happens a lot with on-air analysts, so we apologize in advance.
Exactly. Race number 1 is a restricted $35,000 claimer for fillies and mares, non-3 or that have not won a race since May 27th. They are going to contest 1 mile in distance, and you can see the morning line favorite is a soft 5-2 down on the rail. Thestral from the barn of Tom Amos. But Matt, what are your thoughts about the Friday opener?
Well, I picked Thestral on top. I think a lot of people are going to look at that January 25th race from last year where this filly got a 92 buyer on a sloppy track, and it's wet today. So
yes,
there is no doubt in our minds that this filly can handle the wet going. Last time out did not run well. Off a layoff, was going 1 turn, getting back to what she probably wants to do. Her best races have come at 2 turns. She's in for $35,000 today. So will you expect her to run back to that race last year? Probably not, or she wouldn't be in for $35,000. But she's probably good enough to win this race for trainer Tom Amos, who's off to a real hot start here at the meeting, and you get your leading rider, Christian Torres, aboard. So I think Thestral will be tough in the opener today.
Matt went with the rail. I'm going to the far outside with the number 8, Divine Gal from the barn of Donnie Von Hemel, Francisco Arrieta. I'm going to see if I can get him that 1 step closer to the milestone. This horse has won second off of the layoff, which is coming into today, does get some class relief, and does have a local win when the barn goes from Churchill to Oaklawn, as she is today, coming off of that 5th against much tougher $50,000 restricted claimers. The barn fires at 25%, and she does have a win in 2 starts over a wet surface. So 7-2 on the morning line. I think I'm going to probably still get a good price with the number 8, Divine Gal. Race number 2 is an $8,000 restricted claimer for 3-year-olds and up, and they will go 1 mile and a 16th in distance. It's either non-winners of 3 or not won a race since July 27th. We have a field of 9, and once again, the morning line favorite down on the inside. What are your thoughts, Matt?
I feel like Go Cats is a bit of a grinder type of horse. He just sort of grinds. And that's why you see these 2 for 18. Horses like that, they don't always win that often because other horses can outkick them, and they need the right scenario, and they need to find the right field to win. So with that in mind, I went elsewhere. I went with Lions Not Sheep, who comes out of Remington Park races. But this runner 2 starts ago only lost by a head to Cozy My Boy, who's probably better than any of these horses in here. And he actually has done very well here at Oaklawn last year, and this year he ran very well recently. Lions Not Sheep most recently in for $10,000 at Remington. He sort of ran a subpar race that day, but he did have to steady, and this is a horse that wants to make one run. Another one of these horses that doesn't have a huge kick, so if he has to stop during the race, it takes him a little while to get going, and I think that altered his finish ultimately last time. So I'm going with Lions Not Cheap. First start for the Ingrid Mason barn. I know Oscar Flores, 20% trainer, hard to improve off of him, but I don't even think this horse needs to improve. I just think he needs to run his best race, and if he can, I think he can win.
Well, I'm going to go to the runner just to the inside of Matt's top selection. That is the number 7, Canadian Pharaoh. Dan Ward had a really good Sunday, as we did close out last weekend. Nick Juarez gets in the irons, and I'm just going to throw out that last race. Probably needed a race, just coming off of a bit of a freshening. That was also in returning to Oaklawn for quite some time and faced much tougher $10,000 starter allowance contenders. Now, the last time that we did see this runner into the beaten claiming ranks, it proved to be a winning one. So Dan Ward certainly knows how to read a condition book and how to put those horses in to get those W's, so does get the class relief, and we love American Pharaohs over the off track as they fire at 17%. Canadian Pharaoh also very good at today's distance. Race number 3 is for Arkansas breds. Maiden claiming $15,000 for 3-year-olds and up, and they will sprint 3/4 of a mile. Did have a couple scratches, which does mean the 13 safety does get to draw in and compete today. And the morning line favorite was on the also eligibles as well, but was scratched, which now means the number 2 Bradford does inherit the favoritism.
He does inherit favoritism, and he comes off a layoff and takes a big drop in class to the Steve Asmussen barn. But this horse's only good race came at Churchill Downs, going a 1-turn mile from well off the pace. Doesn't seem to have a running style. He has run some poor races, and even though they were against tougher, I don't think he's a great bet if he were to go off at low odds. So I'm going to try to beat him today. He's probably good enough to be around, but I will try to beat him, and I am trying to beat him with number 6, Preacher's Kid. I actually scratched into this horse, so I didn't absolutely love this horse on top. Scratched into him as my top pick because I really like number 11 at a price, Cruising Control, but he's out. Preacher's Kid, first start this season, comes off a layoff here, drops in class for the Greg Compton barn. Didn't run all that bad against State Breds last year against a little bit tougher company, so I think the drop down will help here with him. His work pattern, he's got to work out of the gate. There is a little bit of a concern in terms of fitness level. He's only got 4 works leading up to this race, but again, this horse has run against tougher, and I'm hoping the class drop will do him some good.
I'm going to go a little further to the outside of Matt's selection with the number 9, Willie Cat. Coming from the barn of Randy Morris, Christian Torres in the irons, debuted over the slop and didn't fare well, but that was, again, the horse's racing debut, and that was all the way back in mid-March. Did come off the layoff in early December to face State Bred, claiming maiden 20, and showed a little bit of early speed and then tired late as the favorite when also getting blinkers and Lasix. Gets that class drop today, does have some, been training very well. So I'm going to think 19% with Lord Nelson, the sire, over and off track could be a big factor for this runner, but I like the fact that they did go to the leading rider in Christian Torres for the assignment.
And the thing is about the wet track stallions, the average win rate is 14% on a wet track. So if you get a 19% stallion, that means they're above average in terms of producing horses that like the wet track. And that's one of the reasons I like Preacher's Kid, not because of the stallion, but because this horse has his 2 best races have come on a wet surface. So especially today, these little tidbits, it's important to note them.
Yeah, and in the racing form, it's really good because they have what are called Tomlinson numbers. Yes. And they have a wet rating, a turf rating, all that good stuff. And anytime you will see a wet rating, especially in the 400s, that is something to probably take a closer look at, because that means that horse is certainly bred for the off-going. I know Munnings is one of my favorite off-track sires, so always seems to deliver over a wet surface. Race number 4 is set to go a mile and a 16th. This $8,000 restricted claiming it is for 3-year-olds and up, either non-winners of 3 or the horses that have not won a race since July 27th. We do have a field of 9, no scratches in this one, and we're going to switch it up as the favorite is all the way on the far outside. That is Wartime Hero. Kevin Martin does the training and will leg up our leading rider. What are your thoughts, Matt?
It's never a bad sign when Christian's on a horse, but we got a good jockey colony, so I'm not scared to pick pretty much any of these guys and gals in the room. Wartime Hero, second start off a break here. This horse was in a starter allowance the trails beginning opening day and didn't do much, but he was in tough, and now he's in for 8,000. Very aggressive spot. Kevin Martin's over for the meeting, so I'm thinking he's dropping this horse to get a win. That's what I think he's doing. This horse actually, the last time he raced over a wet surface, he won for fun and got a good speed figure. So here's one that the conditions today will be no problem for him. And I think Wartime Hero is the best horse in the race. He likes the wet going, and I think this is pretty straightforward with him. I'm hoping that he's not in for 8 because of something negative. I'm hoping they're dropping him to get a win, and if he gets claimed, he gets claimed.
Yeah, I am right there with Matt in regards to Wartime Hero. And the last time he did drop back in for the tag, he was a winner. So you got to like that they are trying to repeat what works with this 7-year-old. This one owned this is a new stable name, Bob and Weave Racing. He used to be part of 501 Boys. So very big fan of Jeff Johnson. He and Kevin Martin co-own this one, and he came in and we were talking about his new stable name, and I said, Bob and Weave, you know, the old kind of shuck and jive with the boxing lingo. Yeah. Bob and Weave, you got to love it. So yeah, I'm with Wartime Hero as well to hopefully get the W. Race number 5 before we take a break is an allowance optional claiming price of $100,000, and there are horses in for that 6-figure tag. Kind of looks like a stakes race on paper. There's a lot of speed and a lot of horses proven over a wet track. All 3-year-olds, and they will go 6 furlongs. And Matt, I am thinking they will go very quickly.
Exactly, and that's why I look for a horse from off the pace. I'm right there with you, Nancy. This is a cool condition our great racing secretary, Pat Pope, has written. This is the last chance these guys will get to run against restricted 3-year-olds. So it's for a good pot. It's a good race. These guys, maybe they're prepping to run against older next year, so it's good to see they get the shot, and this has been a very, very salty race that they've come up with here. I went with Henro on top, the morning line favorite. As you referred to, Nancy, a lot of speed in this race. This horse actually won an allowance here last year at Oaklawn on a wet surface, so he likes the slop. This horse last time out ran in the Steel Valley Sprint against horses like Valentine Candy, graded stakes winner, world record. So by all intents and purposes, this is a class drop, even though this is a good group. He's going to get the pace. The stars align, I think, for this horse to run a crackerjack race today.
Yeah, I kind of struggled with this race because when you have this much talent against each other, you kind of have to really get in there and dissect and figure out what is what. So I did land on the number 7. This is Uskar, coming from the barn of Jordan Blair. Christian Torres in the irons, races second off the layoff, and was a winner over the slop 2 races back with Christian in the irons. That was a pretty contentious first level allowance at Churchill Downs, so he does fall into the restrictions being eligible. He's perfect 2 for 2 over the off-going, and last out did face tougher second level allowance company, so he is going to get, you could say, a little bit of class relief, but he does exit the same last out as several in here. He finished just behind Booth and in front of Molly's Town. And I am getting a report of a late scratch in race number 5. Thank you, David Longinati, of the number 6, Kentucky Dawn, who was a 20-1 price on the morning line, so does not affect our selections. So without further ado, we are going to take a quick break here on this Friday edition of Oaklawn Today. We'll be right back.
Experience the excitement of horse racing with Oaklawn Anywhere. If you're an Arkansas resident, you can watch and wager on horse racing from around the globe, whether you're at home or on the go, with any smartphone, laptop, or tablet, anytime, anywhere. Download the free Oaklawn Anywhere app and register for a sign-up bonus. With access to past performances, live video, race replays, and expert handicapping data, you're always in the know with no subscription fees. Bet online anytime with Oaklawn Anywhere. Exclusively available to Arkansans. Right, Max? Oaklawn Anywhere. Our season never ends. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. You're just a swipe away from a prize. Every Friday and Sunday of live racing, you can insert your driver's license at the swipe stations located throughout the racing side. Just look for the blinking LED lights at each swipe station and follow the on-screen instructions for a successful swipe. 1 in 3 will win a random prize for free or discounted items, which will be redeemable at the racing gift shop and select concession stands. But that's not all you can win. You can win free race bets of $2, $5, or $10, redeemable at the mutual teller. Don't miss out on this opportunity to win exciting prizes at Oaklawn. Remember, you can't win if you don't swipe.
The countdown to 2025 is on, and Oaklawn has everything you need to get the party started, like 24-hour hot casino action, sports betting, and your favorite ball games playing on the big screens. Enjoy an array of fine and casual dining options, live entertainment like the Cliff and Susan Band, the Arkansas Symphony Orchestra String Quartet, and so much more. So pop the bubbly and come on down to ring in the 2025 New Year at Oaklawn. See oaklawn.com for all the details.
We're off in the Tinsel Stakes. Speed Bias continues to grind along. War Campaign has to finish. Speed Bias second best, and War Campaign ships into Arkansas and wins the Tinsel Stakes.
And there you can see the field of the Tinsel Stakes tomorrow. It is packed full of talent. A very exciting feature race tomorrow. Do want to quickly remind everybody about the Liberty Bowl this evening. Mainline is going to be a fantastic place to watch tonight's Liberty Bowl. Texas Tech versus Arkansas, kickoff at 6 p.m. And it's interesting, I was kind of doing some reading last night about Texas Tech players going to the portal, Arkansas players going to the portal, or injuries, or I think Texas Tech lost two of their an offensive and defensive coordinator. So I mean, it's like it's a different scenario now. The last couple of years in bowl games with players and coaches going to the portal, and I'm real curious how that is going to affect the big quarterfinal games coming up. So yeah, are you a big college football?
I like NFL more,
Yeah.
but I will watch college football, especially once bowl season gets underway,
Yeah.
because at that point everybody's really firing for that win because it's a bowl game.
For
so
sure.
it's sort of the last hurrah, and I think that's where you get the most intensity, and
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
Yeah, it's something to look forward to. But yeah, head on down to Mainline. Fantastic wings, the best wings in. They say Hot Springs, I say Arkansas. So yeah, go try out the wings. You can get all your wagers in Mainline or the sportsbook in the casino. Race number 6 is a 3-and-up starter allowance set to sprint 6 furlongs. Horses that have started for a claiming price of $30,000 or less, or which have not won 2 races since September 27th. And unfortunately, this one kind of decimated with scratches, taking out numbers 3, 4, and 7. Because of the amount of scratches in this field, there will be no show wagering. No show wagering in race number 6. But this does kick off the first leg of the 50-cent pick 5. I think a lot of people will probably single the number 8 Disco Ball, but might be a little, iffy because Devil's Tower, he is a hard-knocking Oaklawn fave.
He is. Devil's Tower, a horse that just tries every race, a son of into mischief. I still went with Disco Ball, though. This horse has won 6 in a row. He's run well on a wet surface before in the past. I mean, I think this was a great claim when they got this horse out of California. He was always very talented in California, and I remember him when he was there in the Golden State. But it was just a peculiar deal. He would run these huge numbers. He'd never be able to run against stakes caliber horses. But he was running in for tags, and he'd be getting these 90 buyers, and I kept sort of scratching my head saying, why is this horse in for a tag? And eventually someone took him, and he's really thrived since coming here to the East Coast, Midwest. This horse comes off a win over Tejano Twist last time
That's
out.
huge.
In a third-level allowance at Churchill Downs. So even though I love Devil's Tower, he's a cool dude. He's not Tejano Twist, and Disco Ball's the class of the field here. I had a hard time going against him.
I did too. But interesting, you talked about beat Tejano Twist last out, 2 back when racing at an allowance at Saratoga. He finished in front of Kavad. So he has just been banging against some serious hard-knocking runners. But yeah, Disco Ball, he just simply has the best numbers in the group. And in 2024, he was never off the board in 7 starts, 5 wins, and a pair of seconds. So the fact that he is looking for his 6th straight victory in his Oaklawn debut certainly does get some support, and you have to kind of respect the fact that he does look like the lone speed against this field as well. He's proven over and off track, but yeah, Devil's Tower was one of my favorite horses, especially back when he was under the conditioning of trainer Chris Hartman, and it's on my bucket list to climb Mato Tupila.
Really?
Which is the
very
Native
cool.
American name
Right.
for Devil's Tower.
Yeah.
So absolutely just obsessed with eventually going. I mean, I'm not a big, hiker, but there's something about that. It's like a spiritual kind of thing. And yeah,
Oh,
I
for
think
sure.
I think it'd be really, really cool.
It sounds like a cool deal.
I think, yeah, might get a road trip going.
Have you ever noticed too with some of these horses like Devil's Tower? It feels like he's been around for 20 years. you
Yeah,
know?
because
They're-
and I think part of that is because they're so consistent, because we do say their names so
Right.
much. There might be horses that have made 30, 40 starts and, I'm not familiar with this horse, but because he is so consistent, and especially here at Oaklawn, I think that he is going to go down as one of the fan favorites. Race number 7 is set to go 6 furlongs for 4-year-olds and up. A starter allowance that is started for a tag of 10,000 or less in 23-24. And do have a couple scratches, some price horses of the numbers 3 and 10. But Matt, this is a very competitive group set to go to the gate.
It is a competitive group, and I looked for a horse at a price who actually won last time, El Diablo Rojo, 5-1 anyway, a mild price. I wrote maybe, a big maybe on my picks last time he ran with this horse. I thought 13-1 was an overlay. I felt he should have been a lot lower than that. I believe he was only 5-6-1 on the morning line, and he got ignored in the wagering and got a perfect trip. He got a real fast, contentious pace to run into, but he ran really well and came with a big kick going 5.5 furlongs. I look at 0 for 13 going 6 furlongs with him. Does that concern me? Not really, because he's hit the board in 6 of those races. I think it's more of just a coincidence that this horse hasn't won at 6 furlongs. I don't think he can't be effective going 6 furlongs, but there's going to be pace for him to chase in here again today, and that's really the angle I have with him. If I didn't think there was as much pace, I probably would steer away a little bit, but this horse is going to get a pace again, and I think he's a good horse. And again, you look at that 13-1 last time, I really want to reiterate that because I don't think he should have been 13-1. And sometimes handicappers, we look at a horse that runs a big race and we see they go off at a price and we think, well, maybe we try to beat him.
Right.
I think that was an overlay. I absolutely don't think he should have been 13-1, and I think he's a good horse. He ran a career best last time. He needs to run back to something like it, but I think that they've figured him out, which is to not hold him too much, take back, and make a run.
Yeah, absolutely, and keep him out of trouble. That's
Yes.
partially the number one key.
That's for sure.
It was hard for me to look away from the morning line favorite, the number 11, the ride of a lifetime, Francisco Arrieta in the irons for Jonas Gibson. It would be pretty cool if Francisco Arrieta gets his second win and his 1,000th career victory on a very aptly named the ride of a lifetime.
Yes.
Glad to see trainer Jonas Gibson back in the entry box. This horse is coming off a layoff, but I love the fact that he is won off of a similar freshening as well, and with Francisco in the irons. He's got back-to-back bullet drills down at LAD, both at first at a half mile, then at 5/8. Jockey trainer combo, it is lightning, 35%, and he loves an off track, and he will be wearing the silks of last year's leading owner in Flurry Racing. So there's a lot of things that I really like about this horse that are going to come together, and I like that outside post because he does have a very, very quick turn of foot because he is like a little rocket ship out of the starting gate. So very cool to see Jonas and Staten teaming back up here at Oaklawn today.
He's the one to beat for sure. And I think if this horse had a race under his belt off the layoff, I would have picked him. But he's certainly the one to beat, and he's 2 for 3 on a wet track, Nancy.
Gotta
so I
love
think
it.
you've got a good horse here.
Do you think, Matt, we were talking about sometimes you thought a horse shouldn't have been 13-1. Do you think people might overlook because maybe they're not familiar with the trainer, or if it is a new trainer because, was it Matt or Sean?
Sean
that
Williams,
was Sean
yeah.
Williams. They might not be super familiar with him, and maybe some people might be a little cautious because of that. But then again, that wouldn't affect the novice player because they wouldn't know.
I say it's a huge angle. I think there are a lot of smaller trainers that maybe you look at, you don't know who they are, or they have a smaller stable. You look, Sean Williams is 4 for 20 this year. That's 20%.
That's
pretty
good.
That's a great percentage, and if he can consistently do that, he has a smaller outfit. If he consistently does that, he's going to be fine. He's going to pick up more horses as well, and he's a very capable trainer. And I think people, they look for the Brad Coxes, they look for the Asmussens, and on the other end of the coin, on the other side of it, you get these big trainers, and they get bet when they shouldn't get bet just because of the name. And maybe people, they don't have a strong opinion. Well, I'll go with the leading trainer because I don't have a strong opinion. I think that is definitely something.
That's a good point. Good handicapping tool for Matt Dinnerman right there. Race number 8 is for fillies and mares, maiden claiming of $12,500. Arkansas breds will be in for the claiming price of $20,000, and they're going to sprint 6 furlongs. We do have a full field of 12, just scratching that also eligible. And Sippy sends out the number 10, Boogie Woogie Gal. He co-owns this one and gets the services of Manny Escobar.
And Boogie Woogie Gal, I couldn't pick her here because she got the perfect trip last time, Nancy. I mean, this horse had every chance to win that maiden 20 last time. Got a clear lead, went 47 for the half. I mean, she was basically handed the race if she was able to do it, and she wasn't able to do it. So I did not pick her on top. She's dropping to 12.5, so maybe that'll help her. Maybe she's found her friends in this spot in a large field. But I went with number 2, Inventing Anna, for the Red Hot Mark Cassie barn. Last time this runner ran on a sloppy surface, 3 starts ago, ran second as the runner-up for maiden 20 at Churchill, and got the second best speed figure of her career. So there we go. Another reason to believe that another one of our picks will enjoy the wet going today here at Oaklawn. Inventing Anna is 0 for 16, though, so that is a knock. It's hard to pick runners like that, but she's also, like Boogie Woogie Gal, dropping in class to the lowest spot.
Yeah, very happy to see Mark Cassie off to that really quick start. A huge fan of this dual Hall of Famer. I am going to go with the number 10, Boogie Woogie Gal. It was just, and I agree, really no excuse last time for that second place finish as the favorite. She led the entire way and just, I love it, it says grudgingly late, just could not hang on until those final steps to the finish line. Did get beat. Matt, you're going to have to help me. I don't have my glasses. Half a length as the betting favorite. But I do think with the class relief today, and has, again, another knock. You say 0 for 16. Another knock is beaten favorite 3 of 6 times. Yeah. But I do like the post position, kind of getting on the far outside. And if she gets out to the front, hopefully she won't be grudgingly coming to the finish line. Hopefully she'll have enough oomph left in the tank.
This is one of these races where they find their friends in this level. Somebody, whoever wins this race, you don't typically see first-time starters win a race like this. You typically see horses that they need to find their friends, and they find it. So a horse like Boogie Woogie Gal, Inventing Anna, this is the type of race that they probably do win. Now, would I play them back against winners? I don't know about that. But
might need 1 or 2 of those to cycle into form.
But this isn't the future. This is now. So we're going to see these. It'll be interesting, too, because these two are going to dominate the wagering. So
absolutely.
If you don't like either of them, this is a good race to find a price.
Maybe a good nice place for some show betting, because you do get more bang for your buck on track with the show bet bonus.
Good point.
Race number 9 is for fillies and mares, a first level allowance condition, and they will go 6 furlongs. Did have a couple scratches of numbers 2 and 14, which does allow Edis Trudis, the 13, to draw in from the barn of Sippy Contreras. But I tell you what, this is a very competitive group. You've got some that have competed in stakes, others that are coming off recent maiden victories. But I tell you what, Matt, this is a good one.
It's a really good race, and it's a large field. We usually get that with the first level allowances, large field. Some
when
good
you're
quality.
racing for 130,000,
exactly.
Got to be in it.
Not too shabby, I would say. This would be a good holiday gift to win a race like this.
Yes, it would.
Undercover is going to be my pick, and she's not undercover in this race because we're talking about her. Now, last time out, she didn't run great. I mean, there's no real excuses there. But you look at her 2-back effort on a sloppy track at this level at Churchill. She ran second, got a career-high speed figure by far, and I thought was a very respectable effort. She's adding the blinkers today for Rodolphe Brissett, so I'm thinking that they want her to be a little more involved, because even though she broke her maiden 3 starts ago stocking the pace, by the time she was on the far turn, she was up on the pace battling. She was clearly ahead turning for home. So she is one that maybe she can sit off a little bit, but ultimately, by the time they're turning for home, really where the real running begins, she needs to be up there, and I think that's why the blinkers are on. You put those blinkers on. Sometimes that means you're trying to tell these horses, we want you to show a little more natural speed, and I think she's going to show it. Again, she likes the wet track, and Christian Torres, your leading riders aboard, as we mentioned, never a bad thing. So at 6-1, I don't know if we'll get 6-1, but I also don't think she should be any lower than 9-2.
Yeah, I really went back and forth between my top 3, and you can see we have similar top 3 selections, but I did go with Claret Beret, and that's how I'm going to say this horse. I don't know if that's how.
I think that's.
Is it okay? I went with the French spelling, Claret Beret.
Google's a good spot to find those things out, which I do use.
But Google can not be your friend sometimes,
it happens
too.
all the time, too. Because it's not like, Wikipedia, for example, because that's always correct, right?
Yeah. Oh, of course. Yeah, of course. But it's interesting, little side note, if it's a historical name, you can certainly find out the truth of the matter. But I am going to go with the Greg Compton trainee, Harry Hernandez, to do the steering. Face first level allowance runners last out, first off the claim, and got the W as the betting favorite. Now you might say, well, wait a second, just won a first level allowance. How can this horse run back in a first level allowance? If you read further into the conditions of the race, they've never won 24,000. So the total pot for that allowance was 35,000. So didn't make 24,000. So that still makes this runner eligible for the same condition. Sometimes you got to read between the lines. So I like the fact that this horse is running second off the claim, that $62,500 claim. The barn is a whopping 40%. This runner has shown she can put wins together, and the fact that she also broke her maiden over a muddy surface. I really do like Claret Beret today.
It'll be interesting. I mean, it'll be interesting because she's never run 6 furlongs before. She's only gone 7.
True.
And these 7 furlong races, they're longer sprints. I don't call them abbreviated routes. I call them longer sprints. But 7 furlongs is still different than 6.
And it is a different race setup.
Right, absolutely.
I mean, it might just say, oh, it's just 1 furlong, but that makes a huge difference. Or you might say, oh, a mile to a mile and a 16th. That's a big, big difference, to the horse, to the jockey, and from a strategy perspective as well.
And even last time out went 23-1, 46-1, battling on the lead. It's going to be a faster pace today.
Yeah.
The good news, though, is that 2 starts ago she won stocking, so she's got versatility.
I love a tactical horse.
Of course.
Race number 10 is our nightcap on the Friday program. This is for Arkansas bred fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, and they're in for the maiden allowance condition, which means they compete for $110,000 and will go 6 furlongs in distance. Full field of 12, and your morning line favorite is the number 11 Queen Mallard, who does have 3 starts under the belt. One of the ones that does have some experience, but it's interesting that Matt and I have both gone elsewhere.
We have, and Queen Mallard's coming off a layoff of 8 months, and her first career race she needed it. Second start she got a disastrous trip, lost by 6, but had problems in traffic, and then her most recent start in April, she dueled on the lead and was second best to Wildwood Queen, who's actually turned out to be halfway decent as an Arkansas bred. So Queen Mallard, off the layoff for Ron Moquette here, has a couple of sharp half-mile works on the page. I went with Gently, a first-time starter. Why not? In a race where there are no world beaters, they're decent Arkansas breds, but they're not world beaters. And Gently, a 3-year-old filly by Gentleman's Bet, is out of a dam who was 0 for 1, but 2 siblings to this runner are sprinters. Has a bull at work at Oaklawn Park here, going 101 and change, which is the fastest of 40 works that morning. I will say, though, I hope that you can go 101 and change. If you can't go 101 and change, we got problems. So most horses can go 101 and change. So time-wise, I don't know what that means, but maybe this horse has a little speed, and I like that Brett Calhoun is using Francisco Arrieta. And even though you don't see it all the time, when they're at the same tracks together, he uses him very often. So that tells me that they think this horse is okay.
Well, I do like that recent work pattern. Brett Calhoun does fairly well, not only with maiden special weights, but also first-time starters. And there is a late work on this particular runner. It was Christmas Eve, which was 12:24 here at Oaklawn. It came over a muddy track, went 3 furlongs, and you're going to like this, Matt, 36.8 handily out of the gate.
Oh, very good.
So out of the gate means that they are really going to tighten this horse up, and that's kind of old school to get a 3 furlong drill in a horse that's going to compete, in 3 or 4 days out. So I like that old school training mentality that they have taken with Gently. So Matt and I, we're going to see if we can get, I don't think we're going to get 8-1 now with both of us picking her, but I still think we are going to get maybe a good price, make some of that New Year's coin.
Cat's out of the bag.
Cat is out of the bag.
But you know what? If we can get 5-1, 4-1,
I'd be happy.
Not bad.
Now I've made comments several times in the paddock, looking at odds and everything. I'm like, this is a gift.
Sure,
like if a horse is a big overlay or something like that, and then I'll log on to my Oaklawn Anywhere account, maybe make a wager or two. Well,
I know Santa does. We found out last week.
Yes, he does. We are going to go ahead and show you our $20 show bet bonus parlay tickets, our long shot play of the day, and our top pick, which is sponsored by Oaklawn Anywhere. Matt's going to start off with the opener and go all the way and bookend. We both are. Matt goes 1, 4, 6, 10, while I go 1, 6, 9, 10. I'm going double 8s, double 6s. Matt's long shot play of the day is Gently in the nightcap, while I'm going to go with Dan Ward's Canadian Pharaoh in race number 2. But top pick, sponsored by Oaklawn Anywhere, is race 5 for Matt with the number 2 Henro, and I'm going to go with Disco Ball in race number 6. I feel confident, and anytime I'm confident, it sometimes doesn't work out the best way, but today I feel good about everything.
We mentioned that sometimes the least confident we're in, let's go with this one, and then they wins. Are you a disco fan? I'm an old soul.
Love disco.
I wasn't around in disco times, but I like
okay,
disco.
I wasn't either.
I'm not saying you were. I'm just saying, I'm not saying you were around in disco
I love
time.
Derek. We're going to have to go pick Derek up off the floor.
Yeah, he's on the floor in the background there. No, I was not saying Nancy was around during the disco times, but I haven't been around during the disco times, and neither has Nancy. But you like disco.
Oh, I do love disco. I like the disco movies. I love the disco clothing. I like the disco music. I love it all. I love it all.
Yeah.
I'm sure your parents were disco fans.
Oh, for sure they were. They definitely were. I mean, Boogie Wonderland, Earth, Wind, and Fire,
Oh, yeah.
the Bee Gees.
Yeah.
All that
I
stuff.
love me some Bee Gees. Andy Gibb. Oh, my God, he was so cute.
We're going to give Oaklawn an idea here, marketing people. We should have next year on New Year's Eve, we should have a disco-themed party. That would be cool,
I
wouldn't
love
it?
that.
Yeah.
70s, shaking it up.
70s, yeah.
Without further ado, I'm going to head down to the paddock throughout the course of the afternoon to give you some further analysis. And Matt is going to head up and right now give you the full set of scratches and changes. So best of luck to you if you're on track or watching from afar on the Friday program. Good luck.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for watching and wagering on Oaklawn Park. Folks, without further ado, we now ask you to please rise and remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can now get out your pens, pencils, and programs because we now have today's changes for you. Here they come. 10 races on the docket today. Our track condition is muddy this afternoon. Cloudy skies, 57 degrees, and the southwest winds coming in at about 10 miles an hour. Again, our track condition is muddy. Here come the changes. The first race on the program kicks off our early pick 5 wager. There's no changes in the first race. We're clear there. In the second race on the program, also no changes. Race 2 begins the early pick 4. First 2 races are clear. We move along to the third race. Scratch number 11, Cruising Control. Take out number 14, Rerun as well. Numbers 11 and 14 both withdrawn out of race 3. Number 13 draws into the race and will run. And please note we have a rider change on number 10. It's a Rainy Day. Make the jockey Rocco Bowen. Rocco Bowen riding number 10. It's a Rainy Day in race 3 today. Also in the third race, we have an updated workout for you that is not listed in your past performance products. Number 2, Bradford, worked out here at Oaklawn Park on December 22nd on a fast track going a half mile in 52.60 seconds, was given a breezing designation. Over in the fourth race on the program, we're clear. No changes in race 4. In the fifth race today, scratch number 6, Kentucky Don. Number 6, Kentucky Don, scratched out of race 5. Also in the fifth race, number 3, Booth, is 1 pound overweight. In the sixth race, that begins the late pick 5 wager. Number 3, Vale, is out. Scratch number 4, Midday Image. And scratch number 7, Stage Left. Numbers 3, 4, and 7. All scratched out of race 6. In the seventh race today, scratch number 3, Warp Ride, and scratch number 10, Atomic Tone. Numbers 3 and 10, both scratched out of race number 7, the first leg of the late pick 4. In the eighth race today, we take out the also eligible number 13, Dare to Catch Love, and number 8, Sky Raven, is 1 pound overweight in race 8. In the ninth race on our program, scratch number 2, Gloriette, also scratch number 14, First Hill. Numbers 2 and 14, both scratched out of race 9. Number 13, Edith Strudis, draws into the race and will run. Our nightcap is race number 10 today. In the finale, scratch number 13, Double Daddy Issues, and number 14, Pamilla's Bet, is out. The also eligibles 13 and 14 out of race 10. And number 6, Gently, had a workout here at Oaklawn Park that is not listed in the past performance product. Went here at Oaklawn on December 24th. 3 furlongs and 36 and 4/5 seconds out of the gate, was given a handily designation over a muddy surface. 25 minutes until the first race. Enjoy your afternoon watching and wagering on Oaklawn Park.
We're here to break down the basics of wagering
and the types of bets you can place.
to hopefully make your day at the races less intimidating and more entertaining.
Let's dive into the basics of making a bet.
The first type of bet is to win. If you bet on a horse to win, this means your horse must finish first.
If you bet on a horse to place, this means your horse must finish first or second.
And if you bet on a horse to show, this means your horse must finish first, second, or third.
You can also make 3 equal win, place, and show bets.
This is called across the board.
If your bet is $2 across the board on horse 1,
You will spend $6 total,
$2 to win on 1,
$2 to place on one,
and $2 to show on 1.
and if your horse comes in third, you collect the show money only.
If your horse comes in second, you collect on the place and show.
And if your horse wins, you collect on all 3 wagers, win, place, and show.
When betting at the window, be prepared to tell the clerk the name of the racetrack, race number, amount of your bet, type of bet, and the horse number. Now it's time for you to place your bets.
Good luck!